What's up, everybody? I'm Tara Wellman, and this is Birdseeds. It has been a pretty busy week in Cardinal land, and I'm going to try to hit on all the highlights. But I also had a chance to catch up with Rodney Newpel and get his refreshingly rational take on the 2016 Cardinals and more. So that's coming up in just a bit. But first, some good things did happen. Jhonny Peralta came back and appears to be healthy, but also Kolten Wong got demoted to Memphis. But he also promptly smashed 2 home runs in his first night with the Redbirds, including a walk-off grand slam.
It's gone! It's gone! Welcome home, Kolten Wong!
So there's that. But even when they win 3 series in a row, including one against the NL West leading Giants, the fleeting success is lost in the drama of draft day, where the St. Louis Cardinals had the nerve to draft a 17-year-old kid with obvious roid rage. Too much? Sorry, just trying to fit in with the cool kids on Twitter. Delvin Perez is a massive talent. He's also a 17-year-old kid. The Cardinals, picking at number 23, should never have had a shot at one of the highest valued draft picks this year until the kid failed a drug test, which, by the way, does not make him ineligible to be drafted. It makes him a 17-year-old kid trying his best to make his dreams come true. Wrong method? Yes. Unforgivable action? It shouldn't be. But of course, this is the Cardinals we're talking about. The team that everybody loves to hate. An organization dealing with a big old black eye from the PR nightmare that is the hacking scandal. Now, connecting that with Perez and PEDs is a bit of a logical fallacy, but I digress. The point, though, remains. The Cardinals did something that any other team could have, and many teams would have done if given the chance, but without the same reaction. All the drama has revealed more about people who have a problem with this team than people who have a problem with this kid. And naturally, everyone's got a hot take. So here's mine. Professional athletes shouldn't cheat their way to the top. Let me repeat that for anyone who thinks that by not hating this pick, I'm cool with cheating. I'm not okay with steroids in baseball. Baseball players who are barely out of high school, though, shouldn't be cast aside because of a poor choice. I mean, as far as we know, he didn't assault anyone, he didn't kill anyone, he may not even have intentionally taken these illegal steroids. I mean, come on. Major League Baseball is chock full of guys who knew better, who did bad things anyway, and are still playing the game. Does that make what Perez did right? No, but it does mean the Cardinals are not the only team in baseball to ever give someone a second chance. The Cardinals as an organization have historically valued character, perhaps more than other teams, but maybe just more publicly. This kid obviously needs to grow up. His character needs to develop. But if the Cardinals can improve his judgment as well as his game, what better message to send to kids? Make bad choices, miss opportunities. When you're given a second chance, make the most of it and do it right. But also, with that said, let's move on. Rodney Newpel is an on-air host for ESPN Radio in Peoria, among other things, and he's one of the only other people I know who doesn't think Mike Matheny is the only problem for the St. Louis Cardinals, and I wanted to find out why. So, Rodney, I have to admit that I kind of wanted to have you on the show so that for once I didn't have to defend my Mike Matheny position to someone. So I have to ask you, I know why I end up seeming defensive about Mike Matheny, but what's your take on the whole Matheny situation and the drama that seems to follow no matter what he does?
Well, I certainly don't think Mike Matheny is mistakeless. I don't think he's perfect, but I like what Mike Matheny does for this team. I think Mike Matheny does a good job of leading the team. He could throw different lineups out there. I understand the different lineups are frustration for many, the bullpen for many. But I think Mike Matheny is a great leader. And for me, that's what I want on my manager. And for me, it's as simple as a track record. And when a guy wins, I think he does a pretty good job. I understand the roster is pretty good at times. But you look at some of these rosters Mike Matheny had, including the beginning of this year, and he kept them afloat with just an average roster. So I like the leadership that Mike Matheny brings. And again, I don't think he does everything perfectly, but his leadership to me is phenomenal.
One of the recent Mike Matheny and Cardinals hot button issues is the Kolten Wong situation. The demotion to Memphis was a little hard for me to take.
Right.
But what do you make of all of that? Is this a situation where, as some people are saying, clearly Mike Matheny is a detriment to Kolten Wong, or is it just a matter of a kid who can't quite get out of his own way?
I think he's just struggling right now, and I think the call to send him to minor leagues was a good call. I like Colton Wong, probably not as much as you do, but I like Colton Wong quite a bit, and I think he's going to have a nice career in Major League Baseball. But right now he's not hitting, he's not fielding, and the Cardinals need somebody that can hit, and they need somebody that can field at that position. I don't think Mike Matheny's standing in his way. I mean, I think it's a guy that just cannot get going. I mean, he gets going and then he falls back a little bit. And, whether he comes back and plays center field a little bit, I wouldn't be opposed to that. Send Randall Grichuk down if needed. I mean, he's batting 212. Colton Wong's batting 222. They're both struggling a little bit, but Wong gets going, bring him up, send Grichuk down, and see if he can't play a different position. But I certainly don't think Mike Matheny's standing in Colton Wong's way. I think it's just a matter of he's struggling right now, and he needs at-bats in Memphis.
Do you see Colton Wong being a piece for the Cardinals in the future? I know you said you think that he's got a big league future, but is it with the Cardinals?
I still think so. I still think he can be the starting second baseman for years. And if he needs to be able to play the outfield, I know right now it's a logjam in the outfield. What do we have, 4, 5, 6 outfielders that can play out there? But I think Colton Wong does have a future with the Cardinals. And I think knowing John Mozeliak, well, not personally, but knowing what he's done in his history, he'll be patient with Colton Wong. I mean, he just signed him to the long contract. He'll be patient with Colton Wong. So I do think Colton Wong will be a nice fit for the Cardinals in the future.
It's funny how much angst there has been over the lineup and the offense, because that part has actually been pretty solid. It's really been the pitching that has been more of a struggle. As it pertains to the rotation, Adam Wainwright seems to have kind of figured it out and is looking a lot more like Wainwright. Yep. But what about the rest of them?
The fact of Adam Wainwright is he's not going to be the ace of Adam Wainwright we've seen in his younger years. He's just not. I'm not as concerned with Adam Wainwright as I am. I don't like watching Mike Leake pitch. I just don't. I haven't been in love with watching Mike Leake pitch. He's 4-4 with a 4.22. So he's had some good starts. He's had some poor starts. Jaime Garcia is my biggest concern right now. I mean, he can't get anybody out. If he's hurt or not, I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if he's hurt. Carlos Martinez doesn't necessarily concern me that much. I do like what I saw out of Michael Wacha last night. I mean, obviously a great outing out of Michael Wacha on Friday. He needs to string a couple nice starts together. If he starts stringing a nice couple starts together, I think we'll be okay in the rotation. But Jaime Garcia is the biggest concern for me right now.
Mark Norton on Twitter actually asked a question that kind of ties in here, basically asking if the Cardinals need to skip a start somewhere down the line, do you call up someone like Deck McGuire, or do you try to get enough quality innings out of a Lyons-Bowman combo to make it through? Because there isn't really a starter in waiting like there has been in past years without Gonzalez or Cooney.
Right.
So that does become a tricky situation if they decide to skip someone.
Yeah, I'm almost to the point where I'd rather see a Lyons, a Bowman, a Kieffer, those guys go 2-3 innings. Then we get to the regular part of the bullpen in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning. If it's only going to be one start, if it's going to be multiple starts, obviously they're going to need to call somebody up. But for one start, I say Tyler Lyons has some starting history. Let him go until he can't go and move on from there. But I don't see anybody being called up at this time.
Now, you work in sports radio in Peoria. Yep. And in doing so, I imagine you deal with a lot of Cubs fans as well as Cardinals fans. Yeah. With the power shift in the rivalry this season, what's been the dynamic like for you between Cubs and Cardinals fans kind of in your world in radio?
Well, where I work, we are the official home of the Chicago Cubs. So it's a little bit tough for me, but I do understand the season the Cubs are having. I don't like it. I'll never like it, but I do understand it. And I'm trying to take any bias of hating the Cubs or whatever and understand that this is a really good baseball team. But on the other side, I'm trying to tell Cub fans, hey, you have not won anything yet, folks. You have not won anything, and I don't know as if you're going to want to play a hungry Cardinal team in that wild card first-round matchup. Let's say the Cardinals get the wild card, get past whoever, and then play the Cubs. Now we're looking at roles reversed from last year. You've got a hungry Cardinal team, and again, who knows what's going to happen? But I try to listen to both sides and talk both sides. I've got to talk Chicago Cubs in here in Peoria because it's what people want to talk about. I mean, people around here are referring it to the year of the Cubs. So we'll see what happens. But it is fun banter. I would like the Cardinals to be competitive. And I think that's part of the reason we're so frustrated as Cardinal fans is because our rivals have been so good. I mean, they're 41-18. They're so good. I mean, 5 games over 500 at this point. Cardinals are on pace to win 88 games right now. So Would we take 88 wins? Probably. But the Cubs are on pace to win about 120. And that's the frustrating part. And I think that's where I'm trying to dial it back a little bit. Hey, maybe this Cardinal team isn't that bad, but the Cubs are off to a fantastic start. And maybe not worry about the division. Hey, Cubs take the division, win 115 games. Cardinals can settle in that wild card and do just as much damage in the postseason. And we know that's what it's all about.
We've seen how those wild card spots tend to work out in the postseason. So that's not as bad as some are making it out to be at this point. Now, I have to kind of wrap it up with this. Since the Cardinals are doing, well, maybe less winning than we would like, I'm having to remember other things that I enjoy about the game of baseball. Yep. So I'll ask you the same question. What is it that makes baseball fun for you, win or lose?
Well, I just like all the decisions that can be made. And, I can sit on the couch and try to manage just like Mike Matheny would, or just like we would on Twitter. And I think people need to understand that sometimes you can make different decisions and still be right, and sometimes you can make the same decisions and still be wrong. I mean, that's just simple. It's simple baseball. I mean, and I like the fact that one team can beat the other team on any given day. I mean, we don't always see that in basketball or football. It's usually, hey, this team is way ahead in the standings, they're going to win. In baseball, it's not that way. I mean, you got 9 guys, you got 9 innings, and things could change. And I like the timeless of it. Hey, if it's going to take 4 hours, it's going to take 4 hours. Now, I can sometimes get a little frustrated with guys that are stalling or, the slow pace. But in the end, I still like that baseball has no time and it'll take as long as it takes. And I still think that's fun in the game of baseball.
Who doesn't love a game where you can do the right thing by walking Aledmus Diaz to get to Adam Wainwright and still lose?
I know. And people in Pittsburgh last night were probably hating on Clint Hurdle because he made the wrong decision facing Adam Wainwright.
It's just amazing. Who wouldn't have done the same thing?
It's amazing.
Works for me. Rodney, thanks so much for hanging out with us this morning.
Yep, thanks, Tara.
Thanks again to Rodney for taking some time with me this week. Be sure to follow him on Twitter. Tweet me as well, or leave a comment below and let me know who you would like to see on the show next time. Now for this week's edition of What Makes Baseball Fun Anyway, I had to look no further than the draft once I got past the controversy. Dealing so much with minor league players over the years, I love asking them about their draft day story. Everyone has a different experience, but the common theme seems to be the idea that draft party or golfing with grandpa, many of these guys try to distract themselves from thinking about their dreams hanging in the balance. For some guys, their place in the draft is pretty expected, so they're just busy celebrating, no matter what. For others, though, there's no guarantee, and they just want to keep their mind off the what-ifs. But for all of them, get them talking about that day, and the smile that follows is usually pretty unforgettable. Because, what's more fun than baseball? Click that little thumbs up if you agree, and I'll see you next time on Birdseeds.